Recently, I released a video called 20 Rules of Money. In that video, one of the rules was about learning how to double your money. And in the comments, many of you said, we need a full video just on that topic. So that's exactly what this is, a dedicated breakdown on how to double your money. But before we dive into investments, rates of return, and all the different vehicles that can multiply your money, we have to be brutally honest about the biggest problem most people have when it comes to doubling their money. You know what it is? They don't have enough money to begin with. That's the real problem. Let me give you a stat. 52% of Gen Z's millennials, ages 18 to 37, have less than $1,000 in savings. Only 16.5% of Gen Z's and millennials have more than $20,000 saved. That means more than 83% are under that line. So what's the real issue? Savings. You need more money staying in your pocket. So why don't people have more money saved? It usually comes down to 5 main challenges: income, expenses, taxes, investments, identity. We're going to walk through each of these. Let's start with the first two, income and expenses. Income versus expenses, the real gap. When most people think about money, they say things like, I want to make a lot of money. I want a big income. But here's the problem. You might not have an income problem. You might have an expense problem. What actually matters is not what you make. It's what's left after everything goes out your net. And then on the top of that, you have taxes, which we'll talk about shortly. Let me give you 2 simple examples. Example 1. Someone earns $250,000 per year, $250,000. Most people would say, I wish I made that kind of money. But this person spends $280,000 per year. That means they're going negative $30,000 every year. I personally know hundreds of people like this. They outspend what they earn. Example 2. Another person makes $80,000 per year. They only spend $60,000 per year. That means they're keeping $20,000 per year, while the person making $250K is losing money. So the person earning $80K is building more wealth than the one earning $250K. One has an income problem. They wish they made more. The other has an expense problem. They refuse to live below their means. So if you're saying, I want to make more money, we first need to talk about your income and your expenses. Part 1. Income. How to increase what comes in. Let's start with income. If you have a job right now and you're broke and you don't have anything you're doing on the side, no side hustle, no freelance work, no extra skill you're monetizing, and every evening you just come home and watch TV, scroll, or binge Netflix, let me be very honest with you. You're not serious about wanting more money. You're just hoping to get lucky. If you have a job and you're still broke, there is no reason you should be coming home every night and doing nothing to increase your income. You should be selling something, creating something, learning a high-value skill, working overtime, getting a second income stream. You need to be selling something. The highest paid skill in the world, the one that can change your income the fastest, is sales. If you learn how to sell, you will always find ways to increase your income. So that's the income side. Part 2. Expenses, where your money is leaking. Now let's talk about expenses. I want to give you a few direct points here. 1. Fire overpriced consultants. If you run a business and you're paying people to build your website, design your logo, edit your contracts, record voiceovers, there's a good chance many of them are simply middlemen. They talk like experts, but behind the scenes, they're hiring freelancers on platforms like Fiverr or others and charging you a massive markup. For years, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars paying consultants to build websites, logos, designs, and more, and eventually realized they were outsourcing it to cheaper talent anyway. So what did we do? We fired them and went straight to the source. Instead of paying $499 for a logo, you could be paying $49 or $99. Instead of paying $200 for a voiceover, you could find someone doing it for $20. The point isn't the exact platform name, The point is, cut out the middlemen. Stop overpaying for stuff you can outsource directly. 2. Renegotiate everything. Go through your monthly expenses and renegotiate every contract you can. Phone bill, internet, cable, software subscriptions, services you've used for years, even your dry cleaner or tailor. Walk in and say, "I've been a loyal customer for 5 or 10 years. I need a better rate." In my own company, I'll ask my finance director, "Who are we spending money with? How long have we been with them? It's time to renegotiate." You'd be shocked how much you can save by simply asking. 3. Live below your means. Seriously. The main reason most people never have enough to invest and double their money is simple. They overspend. Why are you going to Starbucks every day? Why are you loyal to expensive brands when you're broke? You can go to Dunkin' for cheaper coffee. Go to a gas station or convenience store for even less. Those extra $3, $5 every day turn into thousands per year. For a long time, I had $250,000 in the bank and drove a Ford Focus. I was worth nearly $10 million, and I was renting a small place. People would say, "I can't believe you're a millionaire and you live like this." The Denver Post once wrote an article saying the CEO believes real estate isn't the American dream because I rented while everyone else rushed to own. Why did I live like that? Because I chose to live below my means so my money could grow. For a season, rent everything you can. Drive modest. Delay flexing until your net worth justifies it. 4. Use technology to reduce payroll. If you run a company, aim to have fewer employees, but pay them better. That creates loyalty, lower turnover, less constant rehiring and retraining, and again, fire unnecessary consultants and replace them with direct, efficient solutions. Part 3. Taxes where silent money disappears. Now let's talk about taxes. Take that same person earning $250,000 per year. If they live in New York or California versus Texas, Florida, Nevada, Tennessee, or another state with no income tax, they could be paying an extra 9–13% just because of where they live. On $250,000, that's roughly an extra $25,000 going straight to the state. That's real money. So taxes might be another silent issue for you. You need to think long-term. What kind of money do you want to be making? Where do you want to live? Is your location helping or hurting you financially? When I was in Florida, Miami, and Orlando, I said, if I were the governor of Florida, I'd be recruiting businesses aggressively. The weather is great and there's no state income tax. This should be a headquarters magnet. So taxes are not just something you accept. They're something you strategize around. Part 4. Investments. The 4 quadrants. Now let's talk about investments and how they relate to doubling your money. Every investment you can think of basically falls into 4 boxes. High risk, low return, low risk, low return, for example, savings, money market accounts, simple cash parking, low risk, high return, rare, but possible with the right opportunities. High risk, high return like penny stocks, early startups, etc. For example, a giant company like Walmart may be considered lower risk, and its return might not be crazy high. Some speculative startup might be high risk, but doesn't always guarantee high return. Sometimes it's high risk, low return, which is the worst quadrant. Your goal is not to randomly gamble. Your goal is to understand risk versus return and make intentional choices. Part 5. Rule of 72. Rule of 105. To understand how to double or triple your money, you need these 2 simple concepts. Rule of 72. The rule of 72 tells you roughly how long it takes to double your money based on your annual return rate. You take 72 and divide it by your annual percentage return. Examples. 72% return money doubles in 1 year. 36% return money doubles in 2 years. 24% return money doubles in 3 years. 18% return money doubles in 4 years. 12% return money doubles in 6 years. 9% return money doubles in 8 years. 6% return money doubles in 12 years. Rule of 105, same idea but for tripling your money. Take 105, divide it by your annual return rate, and you get the number of years to triple. Example, 50% annual return, your money triples in a little over 2 years. So yes, you might say, I'd love 72% returns. I'd be happy with 9%. Where do I find that? Before you chase a percentage, you need to answer 2 questions. What is your risk tolerance? What is your time horizon? Those 2 will shape your entire investment strategy. Part 6. How to think about investing. People constantly message and ask, should I invest in this stock? What do you think of Uber, Snapchat, Facebook? What about this ticker symbol? And they want me to just pick for them. But here's the truth. I'm less interested in helping you pick one hot stock and more interested in helping you think correctly about money. Because if you learn how to think right, you won't just double your money once. You'll be able to do it over and over again. So let's talk about the mindset behind good investing. 1. Specialize, specialize, specialize. I once met an art dealer who knew everything about high-end art. $3 million paintings, $2 million pieces, $600K works. She knew the market inside out. But when it came to stocks, she knew almost nothing. Why? Because her specialty was art. I know people who specialize in commercial real estate. They understand that world deeply, but know very little about residential properties. That's how specialization works. You should know a little bit about many things so you can understand the language. But go deep and specialize in one main area. And 2, don't buy emotionally. A lot of people say, invest in what you buy. If you love the product, buy the stock. If I did that, I'd be investing in Slurpees and candy. Investing is not an emotional game. You worked hard for your money. Don't throw it into something just because you like the brand. Ask, does this make logical sense? What's the business model? What are the risks and potential returns? Do your research. Don't buy emotionally, buy logically. 3. Invest in what you understand. Don't pour money into areas you know nothing about. I was recently talking about baseball cards with someone. He said, baseball cards are a waste of time. Who would spend $70,000 on a piece of cardboard? I asked, what do you know about that market? He said, nothing. I don't need to. Exactly, that's why it sounds crazy to him. But in reality, a Honus Wagner T206 card bought in 1996 for $640,000 is now worth well into the millions. Some estimate $10 million, $15 million or more. A Mickey Mantle, 1952. Topps PSA 9 sold for $776,000 in 1996. A graded version later sold for well over $1 million. Today, the highest grades are valued in the tens of millions. If you don't understand that world, none of that matters to you, and it shouldn't. The lesson isn't go buy baseball cards. The lesson is only invest in what you truly understand. If you don't understand it, either learn it or leave it alone. 4. Stock ownership, business ownership. When you buy stock in a company like Microsoft, you're not just buying a symbol on a screen. You are becoming a part owner of that business. That's how Warren Buffett sees it. He's not obsessed with tickers. He buys businesses. He concentrates his money into industries he understands deeply, like insurance, and holds ownership. So ask yourself, which businesses do I want to own a piece of for the long term? I still remember the first time I bought a share of Nike in my early 20s. I was so excited because I felt like I own part of Nike now. I'm not just a customer, I'm an owner. 5. Buy and hold. People look at someone fit and say, you must work out every day. But often it's just consistent workouts over many years. Investing is the same. You don't become wealthy by flipping everything quickly and constantly chasing hype. You build wealth by buying good assets and holding them long enough. The person who's patient usually beats the person trying to get rich quick. Part 7. Identity, the invisible income cap. Now let's go deeper into something most people ignore. Identity. I once had someone come up to me and say, "You talk about identity a lot. How do I improve mine?" What does that even mean? Here's how I explained it. Your identity pulls your income. If your internal identity is at a $500K per year level, it's mathematically and emotionally impossible for you to settle for $40K long term, unless there's some huge upside later. At some point, you'll say, "I'm worth more than this," and you'll make moves to align your income with your identity. Think about it. Would you work for $40,000 a year? $60,000 a year? $100,000 a year? $200,000 a year? $1 million a year? Whatever number you're currently accepting that tells you a lot about your identity. The same applies to savings. If you have $5,000 saved, or $28,000, or $48,000, and that feels like a lot to you, that may be an identity ceiling. You might be thinking, "This is a big deal. I've never had this much before." That's your current level. If you want to consistently have higher amounts saved and invested, you have to upgrade your identity, how you see yourself and what you believe you deserve and are capable of. When you do that, opportunities, decisions, and behaviors begin to align with that new identity. You start to pull higher income and higher savings into your life. Part 8. Different investment paths. Let's quickly run through different investment options you'll hear about. Stocks. Small cap, mid cap, large cap. Old, established companies versus new. High growth companies. Different industries. You can study one or two industries deeply, then slowly add positions over time. Bonds. You lend money to a company or government. They pay you interest, then return the principal at maturity. Typically lower risk, lower return, unless you're buying junk bonds, riskier. And wine. Some people collect wine worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a whole specialized world. If you don't know it, don't touch it, and I personally don't invest in it. Horses racing. Kentucky Derby, breeding lines, racing stables. Yes, there's money in it. But again, it's very specialized and risky. More of a bucket list passion investment for some rich people, not a beginner wealth plan. Currency trading. Some people make money in Forex and currency markets, but it's a small percentage and very risky if you don't know what you're doing. Flipping real estate. You buy low, fix, sell higher. The key is the team, contractor, painter, inspector, etc. It can work well if you know what you're doing. Collectibles, cards, art, memorabilia, etc. Again, only if you deeply understand the market. Rental income real estate. Buy property, rent it out. Solid long-term play if done correctly. Investing in businesses. Equity. Buying pieces of companies. Private equity, startups, partnerships. This is where huge upside lives. Part 9. The fastest way to double your money. Now let's tie it all together. If you look at the Forbes list and the richest people in the world, very few of them made their first money in real estate. Do they own real estate now? Yes, absolutely. But how did they make their money? Entrepreneurship, ownership in businesses, equity in companies, building something, then scaling it. Real estate often comes after as a way to store and protect wealth. So if you ask me, what's the fastest way to double your money? My answer is start or own a business. Become an entrepreneur. Learn to sell, build, and own. That's where your income can explode. Your expenses can be optimized. Your taxes can be structured better. Your investments can grow, and your identity can expand. So here's your roadmap. Fix your income problem, learn sales, build skills, add streams. Fix your expense problem. Stop overspending, renegotiate, live below your means. Be smart about taxes, choose where and how you live and work strategically. Learn how investments and the rule of 72 work. Upgrade your identity so your income and savings rise with it. Aim to own businesses, not just consume from them. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, hit that subscribe button. If you want to be part of the notification squad so you never miss videos like this, turn on the bell. And I want to hear from you. What was your biggest takeaway from this breakdown? Which of the 5 areas, income, expenses, taxes, investments, or identity, do you need to fix first? Drop your thoughts and questions in the comments and I'll go through them. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.